This is a, Hi guys, this is a Stonepoint and Jones drape neck top. And as you can see, it is not a cowl because it doesn't go all the way around. It's technically would be a drape neck. And here's how it looks from the side. Let me show you. Here's how it looks from the side. Now this is just, actually the front and back are just rectangles, but they're shaped with different stitches. And this is the butterfly sleeve. And here are about 6-inch vents on the side, which make it lay very nicely. And then here's the back. This scoops across the back of the neck, but this is just a rectangle. Both pieces are sewn together. Generally, there's very little sewing in my tops, but just to simplify the process and make it a fun beginner's pattern, this is what we have here. You do need to use this is a cotton blend, but you do need to use a 1 or I'm sorry, a 2 or 3 weight yarn. You can use a cotton blend or an acrylic. They both work fine. Let me pause this and get some close-ups. Okay, this is a close-up of the back, and we start with the back, so this will be the first piece you do. And all the back is just a rectangle that is a double crochet with around a 6.5 hook, depending on your gauge. But the last 2 stitches at the top are a double crochet, or I'm sorry, a half double crochet, and then you chain 2, and the first 2 stitches of the next row are double crochet or a half double crochet, making the whole top 2 stitches of this half double crochets, so that the neck comes in and scoops. So you want this scoop on the neck just for some shaping. It's an easy thing to do. Okay, so at the beginning, I asked you to leave about a 30-inch or 36-inch tail. If you didn't leave that, go ahead and attach, sorry about the dogs, attach yarn to it. I did tie this off here. You wouldn't have to, but I went ahead and did. And the easiest way to see this is where you started, and this is worked vertically. So this is the top of the neck. This is worked vertically up across here, up and down here. And then this tail is going to be used to work just across here, across the back of the neck, 7 stitches. Okay, because this is going to have to be trimmed, but we need 7 stitches across the back of there. And so just, if you did tie it off or whatever, just pull a stitch through, and we're just going to single crochet right across here 7 stitches, and we want about 7 stitches per row. So, or we want about, 1 stitch per row. So that would be 1. If you do attach it, chain 1. If not, chain 1 and put a single crochet in the same stitch, and then do 7 single crochets across the back here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and so it'll be bunched up just a little bit, and that's okay. And so this is the beginning. This is that long part you left at the beginning, that long tail, and then just pull it through and tie it off, just so it doesn't pull out on you. We're going to be using this to sew later on. Okay, and then I'm left-handed, so I do have to turn this over. And then as you're finishing your last row, before you cut your yarn, as you're finishing your last row on the back, so this whole piece is the back, when you get to the top stitch, to turn this corner, because we're at the top stitch right here, and then we're going to turn the corner and go 7 stitches over. This is where I tied off. We're going to go 7 stitches over this way. So we have 7 stitches going in on either side of this top. So to turn the corner, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to do another single crochet in the same stitch, and that will count as 1, and that will turn you around the corner. So when I got to the top stitch, I chained 1 and then did a single crochet in the same stitch to turn the corner, so that we can go across, let's look again, across this way. So we can go 7 stitches across this way. Now that first, when you turn the corner, let me pull this out again. So you go into your last, you single crochet into your very last stitch, and that's in the directions. You will chain 1 and then single crochet into the same stitch as the one you just worked in, and that will turn your corner for you, and that will cause you to turn the corner. This counts as stitch 1, and then we're going to go over 6 more, so we have a 7 total. It's 2, 3, and sorry about that, 4, oops, this is hard to do because I'm left-handed to stay away from the camera. 4, sorry, 5, and this is a little messy, but I'll clean this up when I'm off camera. 5, 6, okay, 7. So it's going to be about 7 rows. 2, 4, 6. It's going to be about 7 rows. Sorry about this little piece here. So what we have here, and then before you cut your yarn, make sure this tail here is about a foot long, about 12 inches long, and then pull this through so it's the same as the other side, just so it doesn't unravel. So you've got 7 stitches on each side of the top, the back of the neck. And so this was the back of the neck, and this is where we're going to join the shoulders. And then I'm going to pause it and I will show you the rest. Okay, so now here we have the front piece. I'm going to put that right on top of it, and the top of the front piece, the neckline, and it's very instructive, the neckline, with each row replacing and decreasing using, here's the V made to make the drape neck with those front loop single crochets. So this is what makes it drape, but we have a little trick we need to do. Now you can sew up the sides, and don't forget to use your chart for your armholes. If you have a big bust but a smaller frame, make your armholes according to your frame, not your bust size. Okay, again, now here's the top. Now if you remember, we made this top is 7 stitches, or 8 stitches, I'm sorry, 8 stitches higher. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We made it 8 stitches higher than the front. So we're going to start here. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to go down the 7th stitch. Now, this is part of the armhole, but we are going to turn this in towards the neckline, and it's going to become part of the shoulder. And that's what adds the extra drape to it. So you have this loose part for the drape, but we're going to add the extra drape by taking part of the armhole and turning it in. But you're already set up, so this is really easy to do. Remember, you have a tail on each side of the back. Remember, the double crochet is the back. This is great. It's going to be like it's going to not be confusing at all, I promise. So we're just taking, so I'm going to thread this, and then I'm going to get this. And remember, this is going to be turned in. So let me get this. So here's, you see this V, here's the neckline, here's the armhole, and we're going to take this and it's going to turn in, and it's going to become part of the shoulder. But it's, let me move this out of the way. So it's going to do that on both sides, and that will add the extra drape to it, just this part. But it's really easy to do because all you do is take this very first stitch right here. You thread your yarn, take your very first stitch right here, and you just pull it over this way. Now, let's take a better look at this. And you just pull it over this way. Now, I'm left-handed, so this is a little hard. So you're just going to sew this flat, nicely, stitch to stitch. There will be sewing. Generally in mine there isn't sewing, but to get this shaped right, you do have to sew. You're just going to sew it stitch to stitch, which is super easy because you only have 7 stitches here, so you can't go down too far. You're just going to sew it stitch to stitch so it's nice and flat, like this. See? It's nice and flat. Stitch to stitch those 7 stitches. And that's all you do, and that's what that extra tail is for. It was for crocheting in 7 stitches, and then it was for doing this little fun thing right here, sewing this stitch to stitch. And then, you know, you can't sew any further from the back. That's as far as you have to go. That's your last stitch to make. So you can't do it wrong. And now this part of the armpit became part of the shoulder, and that adds the extra drape. And then look what a nice even armhole you have. I haven't sewn up the sides yet just because I didn't need to show you this. And we do the same thing over on the other part. There's no way to mess it up. And it's just a few stitches to take out if you get a little confused. So remember, here we have this pretty V that we made, and the arm, this front half is 8 stitches taller. Was 8 stitches taller because we added these here. It's only 7 now, and we're going to turn it in this way. But it's really easy because you just thread your needle. This is already set up for you. This is why we set this up, was so this was just made the easiest attachment point. So remember, we're not going to start here. We're going to turn this in. We're going to find this stitch right here, this very top stitch, and we're going to sew that to it. So we're sewing, this is what was the armhole. So we're just sewing it stitch to stitch down this side. And I will, let me sew this real fast, make it nice and flat. It makes this will be one of the nicest shaped sweaters you have. It will be, I mean, you're going to end up making it really custom fit for you. Okay, so this is what we have over here. Now let me show you the neckline. So we had this looser part to make it drape, and then we turned it in to make it drape. And so that's what we have. Now see, this becomes our neckline. Okay, let me get this in frame. So this becomes our neckline. And at the very end, you'll be going around this neckline. And then you can make it as loose and drape as far as you want, or you can, if you need more coverage, you will have that also. but that's where our neckline is, and that's the whole trick to making this drape neck top. Thanks.